One of the worst cards I have ever seen on the television just went down at UFC Edmonton. This card was absolutely horrendous. It was so boring from top to bottom. I was falling asleep multiple times throughout the card. Multiple times on the main card and multiple times throughout the prelims. There were only a couple of fights that even drew some kind of either wakeful attitude in me that actually had me on the edge of my seat. Not even the edge of the seat, let's be honest here. I don't even know how to describe this card. It's hard to even put it into words, but it was one of the most boring fight cards I have ever seen, and I've been watching MMA for a long, long time. Now, do I watch every single fight on every single card every single weekend? Sometimes I skip fights, sometimes I don't have time to catch the entire event, and sometimes I fall asleep before the main event comes around because it's such a terrible Apex card, for example, or, in this case, a terrible freaking Fight Night card in Edmonton, Canada. I'm embarrassed by this card. I'm embarrassed for the Canadian people. I feel bad for the Canadian people that had to sit through this, watch this whole thing. The whole card. It started at 5 p.m. Eastern time for just quick overall rounded out numbers. 5 p.m. on the East Coast. It was not over until like 11:45. It was almost 7 hours and there were only 13 fights on the card. I'm still exhausted from having to watch this. It bored me to death. So, let's start from the bottom. Jamie Lynn Horth versus Ivana Petrovic. Don't care. Barely watched it. Was falling asleep. Couldn't catch my eyes. Keep my eyes open. I mean, my goodness, this is exactly what the UK fans were doing to try to stay awake during this fight card. It was awful. Next up, we had Cody Gibson, the Darren Till of MMA. I can't even talk about the breakdown on these fights at all because I don't fucking remember them. They're that bad. I can't believe how bad this fight card was. Some of the fights should have been fun on paper, but man, they just were not at all. Yep, we have Darren Till fighting this week. Yep, that's about what I took away from it. What else do we have? Sergey City versus Garrett Armfield. Snooze fest. Sergey City won the fight on the judges' scorecard, but I believe that Garrett Armfield won it. That was one of the only fights that actually stayed awake through the entire thing. It had some decent action, but overall, I didn't really care because they both kind of stink. Anyway, Charles Jourdain, let's back it up, all the way up here, was taking on Victor Henry. These three in the middle here, or these two, at least the Romanov-Navcimento, sorry, I'm getting mixed up. These fights all blended together. They were all boring. I was falling asleep every other round. Navcimento-Romanov, fat-ass heavyweights. It didn't do a damn thing. Boring-ass card. Don't ever care to see them again. But we had Yusuf Zalal and Jack Shore going back and forth, two kind of highly touted prospects. Jack Shore, you need to go back to bantamweight. You just got your head fucking kneed through the ceiling of the Rogers Arena. Go back, Rogers Center. You need to go back to bantamweight, my guy. You look like a flabby little, soft little white boy in there. Flabby skin, pale skin, don't like it. Go back down, get on the beach, go running, get your workouts in, and cut back down to bantamweight. Stop messing around with this featherweight shit. Yusuf Zalal was too big for you, and he beat the shit out of you, man. Come on. Anyway, on to the next one. Charles Jourdain locked it up with a guillotine against Victor Henry. Victor Henry is a nice, solid veteran. I can't speak quickly enough for this video. I'm tired of it. I don't want to talk about this event ever again. Fucking boring as hell. Here's Charles Jourdain's finish here with a guillotine. Not too bad here, I will admit. But Charles Jourdain moving down to bantamweight, his bantamweight debut. Got it done, got a win, but how long can he sustain this? Can he actually cut the weight again? I don't know. There he goes. Locks it up. Victor Henry taps. It's tight. Victor Henry can't move his head off the center line. Good for him. All right, we also had Ariel Helwani fighting this card. He beat up Pedro Munoz. I think Pedro Munoz is probably done. If you can't beat a boring-ass fighter like Ayman Zahabi, Ariel Helwani himself, you're not going to do anything else. Go to PFL. Go win the $1 million. Beat up Brendan Loughnane. Don't cut weight anymore. And get that $1 million that you deserve, Pedro Munoz, because you've been taking on killers for your entire career. Anyway, let's get on to the next one. The only fun fight, the only exciting fight, the only fight that I was on the edge of my seat for the entire night was Dustin Stoltzfus versus Marc-Andre Barriault. Here we go. Here's the finishing sequence. This one was quite a wild one. Takedown, striking on the feet, everything. This one had everything. It was a beauty to watch. Here we go. Dustin in the clinch. Beat up Marc-Andre. Marc-Andre throws a huge one. Rocks Dustin right there. Boom, boom. They're just slugging it out to end the fight. And here we go. This is the final punch. Boom! Done on the floor. He is out. Lights out. Follow-up shots. Beautiful performance by Dustin Stoltzfus. Let's watch it one more time. Boom! Boom. Dude went down. Beautiful by Dustin Stoltzfus. Both these guys, kind of just those middleweight sluggers. Not much to really look out for in the future for either of these guys, but it was a fun knockout while we had it. We also had a couple of fights in the middle of the main card that I don't care about. Two guys, Machado and who was it? Ribeiro. These two guys up here. Absolute snooze fest. Two guys that should have been knocking each other out and did absolutely nothing. Jasmine Jasdavicius picked up for the loss of Derek Lewis with this comment on her post-fight interview.
My balls is hot.
Her balls were super hot after that one. All right, we appreciate that because Derek Lewis was not on the card and was not able to say that himself, so somebody thankfully stepped up and took Derek Lewis's place. Then we had Pat Barry doing fucking weirdo Pat Barry things. Rose lost a boring split decision to Aaron Blanchfield. I don't even know if it was a split decision. I was fucking falling asleep. Come on, let's just be honest here. Tired of this bullshit. Edmonton couldn't even get a good preview together. MMA Guru, a guy that I subscribe to. I've subscribed to a lot of guys. There were a lot of guys streaming the card, but I noticed that MMA Guru didn't even stream, didn't make a video afterwards, nothing. I wonder why, because you look at this card on paper and it could have been a couple of fun fights, but when I was doing my breakdown for it last week, I couldn't even put together some fucking good ideas, good predictions, good anything for it. It was a fucking bullshit video, terrible video, one of my worst videos of all time, because the cards fucking stunk. I didn't even know this fight was going to be 5 rounds heading into it between Aaron Blanchfield and Rose Namajunas. Yet, here we go, 5 rounds. It's already one of the longest, most boring cards of all time. And then we got a 5-round co-main event for absolutely no reason. Aaron Blanchfield grinds it out. Boring-ass victory. They both kind of suck. I got to be honest. What happened to Rose? She just stinks now. Aaron Blanchfield, whatever. She did her thing. Stood toe-to-toe with Rose on the feet and then got some takedowns. Good for her. Don't really care. Main event, Brandon Moreno picked apart Albazi. Albazi coming off some serious injuries. Just did not have it. He doesn't have it, man. Couldn't get the takedowns on Brandon Moreno. He had a couple of moments in the first round where he was slipping some punches, but other than that, the dude just got pieced up over 5 rounds. Brandon Moreno is a fast flyweight. Albazi probably cuts too much weight. I don't know. Don't really care. But biggest thing of note, at the end of the fight, Brandon Moreno gives us the Rizzler face. And that's all I can say about this fight card. There were a bunch of memes and funny things that went on, crazy stuff, but I was falling asleep. I didn't even catch the last 3 rounds of the main event because I fucking fell asleep. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about the card, everything, whole thing. Come on, let's just get on to next week. Protez, gonna knock the fuck out of Neil Magny, hopefully. Maybe not, maybe we'll get fraud checked. MMA fucking sucks right now. It is what it is. So, let me know what you guys think about the whole card, some of your favorite events going forward, because this one absolutely sucked and I don't want to talk about it anymore. So, I'll see you in the next one.